Is the Malcontent, and we are broadcasting live from Tacoma, Washington, where there is a Black Lives Matter anti-police brutality protest going on. This protest goes on every other week. There are a number of stories in South King County and Pierce County. Tacoma is located in Pierce County. There is a situation here back in March involving Manuel Ellis, where Manuel Ellis's last words were, "I can't breathe, sir." And Manuel Ellis died while Tacoma police were taking him into custody. There is an outside investigation going on at a state level, but the story is very similar to Breonna Taylor. It's just kind of dragging out and dragging out and dragging out and dragging out. And so far, no answers, no justice. So with that, I'm going to flip the camera around. We'll be broadcasting live in Tacoma. Saeed Joaquin was killed by Lakewood, Washington police. Letter Thomas, killed by Pierce County in Pierce County. While we were setting up, people driving by are... So what's happening is people are driving by and throwing fireworks at the protesters. And maybe we can catch somebody and get their license plate, and the Malcontent admins can figure out who that individual is. Or maybe not be a coward and come on out here and talk to people. I think both of those are viable options. And it just goes back to, hey, why do you wear all that stuff? Well, there you go. Give me 1 second here. Thought I had all my wires good, and I have one wire that's tangled up. There we go. I've said before, I don't use wireless because I've just seen too many protesters I've seen a lot of streamers that use like wireless mics, and they have a lot of problems. Of course, the wires create a whole different set of problems. We do have mods on both Twitch and Facebook. So play nice, everybody. A lot of problems. Of course, the wires create a... Hey, you're getting to hear the time delay of the feed. Protest in Tacoma is at Tacoma Police Headquarters on South Pine. And it happens here every other week. Hey, and I got the titles right this time. It's the little things in life. Yeah, I love the shout out to the mods. You know, reading the comments sometimes is like a total act of self-abuse. And so I really love the mods because they take the self-abuse out of doing this for the most part. They help minimize it. What we'll do at some point is cross the street. So you can see what's going on. There's somebody who's gone by and has thrown fireworks at the protesters now twice. And so I suspect that they'll come here and do that. MSM is here, Como is here, providing, looks like they're just getting some B-roll.
What do we want it? What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! And if we don't get it? If we don't get it?
That was a honk of support.
If we don't get it? Shut it down!
This has been sorry about the tree, folks. This is a peaceful protest.
I said, don't push that music button.
Gonna have to navigate around the trees. So this right here is Tacoma Police Headquarters. So the story with Manuel Ellis was having what was apparently a mental health and or drug or alcohol crisis. So many of these stories start this way. Somebody called the police. The police came out. There was a scuffle. Manuel Ellis was restrained. Oh, the Como dude probably feels like I'm stalking him. I think we have the same eyes and trying to get the same shots. During that, what emerged from cell phone video, it's always the cell phone videos. What emerged from cell phone video and from a Ring camera of a house across the street is that the story that the Tacoma Police Department was telling did not match up with reality. And Manuel Ellis was begging for his life, and his last words were, "I can't breathe, sir." So with his last breath, he still was trying to be respectful. He was fully restrained while they were restricting his breathing after they had just finished kind of pummeling him with citizens on cell phones saying to stop, and that he was already in a state of being compliant. Give me a second here. We're going to run across the street in just 1 second. Here we go. Then you can get a better shot of what's going on. So Manuel Ellis's story would have just been a footnote had George Floyd not happened, because the narrative would have been controlled by the police. And what happened was, as these videos emerged, pressure formed on Tacoma, and what Tacoma was doing was what was happening during pre-I-940, having a neighboring community do the investigation. The investigation's been handed off to the state of Washington now. But as I had stated earlier, if you're just tuning in, like Breonna Taylor, it's just dragging and dragging and dragging. And Manuel Ellis's family is emotionally exhausted. And that's why you don't see them out very often or hear from them advocating for themselves. And there are other people in a terrible club that no family wants to be in that are putting their arms around them and having them keep up their struggle. Excuse me 1 second. And they're chanting Danny Ellis right now. And so this is the state of things in the United States of America in 2020. And if you don't think that the BIPOC community doesn't look at Kenosha and sees an individual that shot 3 people, killed 2, walk right up to the police with a gun, comes right up to a cruiser, just about puts his hand on the door handle of that cruiser, if you watch the video, and then kind of steps back with his hands up And then they just drove off. And there's just nobody in the BIPOC community that's like, if they did that, they'd have holes in their body. Well, no, they wouldn't. Yeah, they would. Because there's just a mountain of evidence and cases that show that. And so there is this massive inequality in this country that continues. And if you haven't been following what's going on with Frank Nitti in Pennsylvania, like, holy crap. Pennsylvania's like a racist mess. I mean, it's like the flippin' South there. There's more people here than what it appears. They're spread out over more than a block. And this only started at about 5 o'clock. Again, totally peaceful. 90 to 95% of what we cover is totally peaceful. And then of that 5% or 10%, 70% is either the police or someone in the alt-right starts problems. And then again, of that 5 or 10%, maybe 20 or 30% is direct action. And a good example of that is what happened in Seattle yesterday. And Cairo and Dory Monson are being bastards. My radio was set to Cairo 97.3 because I like to listen to Dave Ross in the morning. And the last time I drove, I was driving in the morning. I was listening to Dave Ross. And anyway, you know, Dory was on. And Dory was making a really big point about what happened in Capitol Hill after 11 o'clock at night. He failed to mention everything that happened on Capitol Hill between about 9:30 and 10:30, where the Seattle Police Department basically, I'm trying to find the objective word. It's, give me a minute while I pause to find the objective word here. They displayed a propensity to use, lots of honks of support. They displayed a propensity to use an extreme amount of direct violence against peaceful protesters. I think this is the most best way that I can put it. The EDM group, the Everyday March group, they're as peaceful as they get. They might get a little chippy with words. This is not a group that throws stuff, breaks stuff, push, shoves, etc. That's not their credo. And the EDM group is the group that has been having these great conversations with local politicians. And so the Seattle police basically treated their peaceful protest basically like it was a riot last night. There's no other way to describe it. They never declared an unlawful assembly. They never declared a riot. And so without those two things, they still were physical. Well, again, we will be as objective as I can in my words. They were physical with the media, including the folks at Converge, that basically any person in SPD is going to know who Converge is, because Converge is as close to kind of mainstream media without having a TV station here in Seattle. So they also, SPD, grabbed camera equipment from another streamer, threw it on the ground, and smashed it. Multiple officers, effectively ending their stream as they were doing all this. Now, Dory today never mentioned any of this stuff. And Cairo, in their coverage on their website, never mentioned any of this stuff either. What they did mention is stuff that the DA group did, as they kind of do a few times a week up on Capitol Hill. Do I condone that? No, I'm not a fan of destroying property. But I'm not people over property either. Was this the same group? Was this the same agenda? Is it correct to lump them in all together as the same group of protesters? Absolutely not. EDM and the DA, they're two totally different groups, two totally different sets of actions, and to an extent, they have different charters. Their charters are, their end goals that they want are pretty much aligned, but I don't think it's fair to say that they're 100% aligned. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of what's going on. In Kenosha, it's my understanding that basically all of the out-of-state streamers and a lot of the out-of-state and international media have left Kenosha. That's the impression I'm under. I also know that local streamer, because Lakota Lichtwald, who was very gracious in letting us work with him over kind of the last day and a half, and Lakota did an amazing job. Lakota's like a brand new streamer, and he has no interest in like, hey, I want to have a job in streaming. And he, probably for a brand new streamer, he was just a big ball of amazing. And he doesn't plan when things in Kenosha kind of reach an end point. He's going to reach an end point. That's what he said. But he also added, never say never. As somebody who is Gen X, to hear TP, I giggle a little bit inside. If you're a Gen Xer, you totally understand. It makes it even a little more humorous when it's associated with the police. What they were chanting was defund TPD 50% at least, TPD being the Tacoma Police Department. Anyway, the point I was making about Lakota is he said on his feed last night he will not be streaming Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. He has something else going on. But he did add never say never. So my recommendation would be if Koeri Elijah is streaming, Koerri, Elijah, just like the biblical spelling, I would recommend trying to follow Koeri if you want to watch what's going on in Kenosha tonight. Don't know if they're streaming. My guess is they probably are. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody from Kenosha is watching us. To the people that banded together, and for the Kenosha streamers that came out, basically totally unprepared for what's going on in their town, and to the people that put together riot bags for them and got those riot bags to them, thank you so much. If you don't know what a riot bag is, you're like, ha, see, he used the word riot, gotcha. A riot bag is a term that is used by streamers and reporters in the media. It is basically, oh, we just had this guy in the Pontiac come by and flip everybody off. We're gonna we'll keep an eye on that. The tooth to tat ratio there was pretty equal looking. Oh, he said riot bag. So a riot bag is something that people, it's a term used in streamer culture, it's a term used in the media. Basically, it's a bag that you carry that has everything that you need in case things get spicy. I carry a riot bag. Most streamers carry a riot bag. And it is also in case you have alt-right that comes in and agitates. On Sunday there was an incident where somebody came in and at Olympia. Gerald got the TP reference. Hey, we just got a fuck you from someone driving by. it's interesting. Traffic that's coming from the other direction is very, very supportive. When we were over there was lots of waves, and I don't mean middle finger waves and honks and thumbs up. And people coming in this direction are very unsupportive. There is a group that's kind of a small group, but it's growing as time's going by, and they're gathering up on this side. Yeah, people, if you're scratching your head and like, what the hell happened in Seattle last night that didn't make sense, watch my, okay, I'll call it for what it is. It's kind of a rant and it's kind of a screed. But of course, in my opinion, I think it's worth watching. There's some activity going on. People are moving. There you go. That's some honks in support. There's some people that appear to be moving into the parking lot over there. And so we are going to trot across. I'm not going to get into, basically you have my opinion in that stream, and I'm really not doing editorial right now. I'm doing reporting. And so if you want to watch my editorial, you can watch that morning screed. That's just you wanting to get more eyeballs. No, I don't want to take away from what's going on here. Sorry about kicking the pole. So this is why I like Lakota. Like Lakota would bump his phone and be like, I'm sorry.
Thank everybody for coming out again. I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. You know, the story of black men, unarmed black men being gunned down, knees on their neck, being tased by law enforcement is getting real old. I feel like every 2 weeks come back here, it's something new.
Can you guys hear the speaker okay? Or do I need to get a little closer?
We had the Atlanta, the guy was shot.
Let me know in the comments.
Brooks, I believe his last name. Rayshard, we had just recently Jacob Blake, who was gunned down. Look who he is. He was shot 7 times in front of his 3 children. He's paralyzed from the waist down now, unarmed, not doing nothing wrong. Actually, he was there keeping the peace. He was breaking up a domestic dispute between 2 women, keeping the peace. And he's the one shot 7 times. Now he has to live for the rest of his life paralyzed. And he's got 3 children to look after. Now he's paralyzed. So that's going to make things a lot difficult for him and his family, of course. This story's getting real old. But we're here today as well for the families of Benny Ellis, Benny Branch, Leonard Thomas, Saeed Joaquin. Today I seen a sign.
I'll get a little closer then, thank you.
177 days since Manny Ellis was killed by 4 officers when he told them, I can't breathe, sir, when they had a knee on his neck and they absolutely didn't care. He was murdered by those officers. And so we're still out here because there have been no charges, no arrests. They're still at home on paid leave and have not been prosecuted. Not only that, the prosecutor attorney office, Mary Robinette, said we're not charging the officer who shot Benny Branch in the back and killed him. Another unarmed black man. Another one. This is right here in our community, local community. We have Saeed Joaquin, who was killed by Mike Wiley here in Pierce County. And then we had Leonard Thomas, who was killed a few years back as well. This is right here in Tacoma. This is a national problem. I started out with people understanding this has happened here. This happens all over the country. The list goes on and been happening for years. It's not just happening to men either, it's happening to women. Breonna Taylor, Irina Lyles down in Seattle. I was trying to get that out, thank you. I mean, it happens to black men, women all over this country. And I'm sick and fed of it. It's fucking disgusting. And I'm fucking tired of it. Every time I wake up, it's something. You know? It's something. So, we're out here because I know everybody here cares. We're coming out and we want justice and we want change. You know? Because recently, you know, people have been doing that in different ways. So, my message is, however you want to create change by getting the message out, do that. We recently seen NBA players decide to boycott. That was their way. You know, they have tons of economic leverage and power, you know, for the bigger system. And when you affect money and economics, you know, people don't like their money getting affected. When you shut things down like that, big business TVs don't get paid. You know, news networks have to find something else to do, ESPN, all those things. So and what people don't know, what's that? Yes, and what people don't know, Bill Russell did that too, back in the day. He chose not to play a game. So that's not something new that the NBA players are doing, but that's their one way of creating change the way they can. So my message is, keep the conversation going, keep fighting, do not stop, because this problem is continuous. And it's still happening. Just want to speak on the Jacob Blake the incident. We all saw at the protest, if anybody didn't see, when they were protesting, white individual with an assault rifle shot 2 people, injured another one, walked right by law enforcement with an assault rifle at a protest that was already turning violent, as they would say, and they see a man with a gun and just let him walk right by them.
They gave him water.
Gave him water.
Thanked him.
Thanked him. Didn't do anything. So, that just goes to show you what we're dealing with in this country. Some people say we had lived in a post-racial country when Obama was elected. Look what continuously happens. What continuously happens. So, that's my message. I'm getting on a rant because I'm pissed, frustrated, and tired of shit. If anybody else wants to come up and speak and voice their thoughts, they can. But I'll just say, who lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Who lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Who lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Who lives matter?
Black lives
Spam those hearts.
Who lives
Spam those
matter?
hearts.
Black lives matter.
Who lives matter?
Black lives matter.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
Police.
Thank you. Both floors open.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate the love.
If anybody wants to come up and talk, anybody that may know who's personally here, or any branch, anybody like that, the local community, please come up. Yeah, right. You can do whatever you please. Just turn the mic on. You should hold it close to you.
Check, can everybody hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name is B Light. I was born and raised here in Tacoma, Washington. I am a spoken word poet, and I have a piece for you guys today called Black Lives Matter. Just know we are visionaries. We are revolutionaries, and we are sick and tired of being in obituaries. But we will not let this dream die. Our vision for the future will become alive. Black, white, and all in between with their fists held high, all in recognition of black pride. Black lives matter. And yes, we do understand that all lives matter too. But obviously there are still too many people confused because black men, women, and children are being killed in the streets, murdered in cold blood by the crooked police. So you see, too many do not understand what this thing, Black Lives Matter, means. Obviously, society does not value black lives. We must use hashtag Black Lives Matter just to drill the concept in their minds. Too many forget that black lives are not something that can just be thrown away. There is no justice. Murderers walk free instead of being locked away. Black lives matter, but don't get it messed up. No one deserves to be murdered in cold blood. Black, white, Asian, Indian, Mexican, whatever the color of your skin. At the end of the day, we are all human, and we all deserve the preservation of life. But don't get it twisted. Black people should not be afraid to drive, because if they get pulled over by a cop, they might get shot and die. Black lives matter. And you can say that I am biased because I am one of those black lives, but am I wrong for caring about my own kind, for caring about my own kin, for caring about people with my same skin? If we don't support our own, then who will? Obviously not the government. Obviously not the Republicans. Not even the damn Democrats. We built this country. It's time to take it back. Make America great again? Please, America was founded on degradation and sin. Black Lives Matter, and that's a concrete fact. So if any of you want to belittle this movement, then you can go back. You can go back to wherever the hell it is that you came from, because as I recall, this isn't your native land either. We didn't ask to come here. We were forced. But guess what? We're not leaving, because our ancestors literally put their blood, sweat, and tears into this soil. This is our home now, and it is our duty to make them proud. We must support our own, because no one else will. Black Lives Matter. See, the kill or be killed. And I don't condone violence. There are plenty of other ways. So please comprehend the metaphors I am attempting to convey. Survival of the fittest, social Darwinism. Do I even need to explain? If we do not evolve to the environment, then we will decay. Because year after the year, they are killing us at a higher rate. So do Black lives really matter? As a matter of fact, they do. But until we lead by example, they will keep killing us just as examples to prove that this country never truly changed, that black people still remain slaves. Black lives matter, and the solution is not in evolution. Throughout history, the only way to bring forth change is through revolution. And as I stated previously, we are revolutionaries, and I hope you all will join the cause. Black Lives Matter. Power to the poetry.
For those of you just tuning in, we are in Tacoma. We are live at the Tacoma Police Headquarters at South Pine Street.
Anybody else want to come up and speak and follow that?
The laughter is like, who wants to follow that? Because you could have dropped the mic after that. Oh, we got a brave soul.
All right, so I'm a defense attorney, and I'm not usually somebody who's in favor of filing of charges. But in this case, when I read the News Tribune article regarding Benny Branch and Mary Rodnett's choosing not to file criminal charges, I got really angry. I got angry because I was reading her explanation of why, and she broke it down and she said, by all appearances, he appeared to be a carjacker. Bullshit. He was there checking on his homeless mother. What about his appearance made him look like a carjacker? Well, there's only one thing that I can think of.
Right.
Racist. It's incredibly racist, that the way she phrased that, period. But on top of that, we talk about how police officers aren't supposed to be judges and juries. They don't get to make those decisions. They don't get to execute verdicts. In fact, though, I would point out, most of the times where we see them being shot, we're talking about resisting arrest and obstruction. Those are misdemeanors. They don't have the death penalty. And let's say they are being assaulted. Let's say that's a Class C felony. That doesn't have the death penalty. So, getting back to Mary Rodnett, she is a prosecutor. She doesn't get to be judge or jury either. And by making her decision, she decided to enact a verdict regarding the officer. She doesn't have to, when you file charges, you don't have to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. It's probable cause. It's a really low standard that I think usually frustrates defense attorneys. And when they're making a determination, they don't have to think, well, can I prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt? All they have to decide is, can they present what's called a prima facie case? On the face of it, could they present facts to a jury? That's it. Can they present facts? And they absolutely could present facts. He was running. He was shot in the back.
Right.
So he's not a threat.
Right.
He was there checking on his mother. He's not there committing a crime. He's not there being violent. They are the ones that escalated it. They are the primary aggressors, the initial aggressors.
Right.
And so it just angers me that if my client tenses his arms, even if he doesn't fight back on an arrest, there's a prima facie case to file charges on resisting arrest. But when somebody shoots somebody down dead while they're running away, and they say that's self-defense, there's not a prima facie case. It's murder. So I've been very angry about that. I've been struggling with that, and I hope that somehow, I doubt it, but I hope that somehow she hears that and she recognizes the complete hypocrisy in her charging decisions.
Good.
Anybody else? Is anybody here that know Manny Ellis or Benny Branch or Sai Joaquin? Person that can come up and speak? Thank you, thank you.
Here,
Hey everyone.
I know I'm moving around a little bit. I just got something really digging into my shoulder and I'm trying to figure out what it is.
I'm married to his older brother, Matt Ellis. It's been 177 days since Manny was killed in the streets of Parkland. Currently, we have no justice. The Washington State Patrol is still investigating because the Pierce County Sheriff's Department was investigating Tacoma Police Department, and due to cries from our family and the community, Governor Inslee intervened and ordered the independent investigation. Tomorrow is Manny's birthday. He would have been 34 years old. He has 2 children, Jody and Alexis. And Alexis is just a baby, so she's probably not going to remember her dad. Every day that we are living in our own communities and feeling so unsafe, it's just hard to make it through the day, you know? And I'm on the outside essentially looking in, I feel like. My husband is, just devastated. Our whole family is devastated. The lies and the lack of transparency from not only Tacoma Police Department and the Pierce County Sheriff's Office have been astounding. And one thing I will say is, I encourage all of you to vote. Yes. Elections coming up. We're gonna have to vote on a new sheriff.
Yes.
And Ed Troyer is a liar.
Yes.
He got in front of the public on TV and said there was no force. There was no knees on neck. There was nothing. Manny just died. It's not true. Video evidence was uncovered by my sister-in-law.
Correct.
There's multiple witnesses.
Correct.
Manny was beat, tased, choked. They put a spit mask over his face, which restricted his breathing. The medical examiner's office has already ruled it a homicide.
Arrest the cops!
By hypoxia, which is lack of oxygen due to physical restraint.
Correct.
It's been nothing but lies and deceit, and I'm sick of it.
Right.
So I'll leave it with this. Please vote. Please, if you're a praying person, pray for our family. As we are continuing to navigate these next steps, this is far from over. This is far from over. Justice for Manuel Ellis.
Yes.
Now, when I say his name, you say Manny Ellis. Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Say his name!
Manny Ellis.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up and speaking, sharing that. Fucking officers around the world just destroying families' lives, killing people and going home at night and sleeping and not caring, still getting paid. It's ridiculous. You know, when she said something about how they got on camera and lied, they would have continued lying to all of us.
Yep.
We paid for them to be there. If that film did not come out, those videos didn't come out, they would have continued to lie, tell stories, cover it up, make Manny seem like the bad guy,
Yes.
make the cops seem like they were the victim,
Like with Benny Branch.
with Benny Branch. See, as we say, video matters. This stuff's been happening. That's why we want body cams. Those are supposed to be coming. Need to get them in Lakewood. But even with the cameras and body cams, they still lie. They still lie and try to cover it up. You know, it's unfortunate there was no video in Benny Branch's case, but I'm sure they're lying and covering up. I don't trust a fucking word that the bullies say half the time, whatever they say. They'll do whatever to protect their own, and then the good cops will be quiet and not speak about it, or if they do, they'll get fired. It's ridiculous. This culture needs to change and needs to stop now. That's why we're out here, and I think everybody should continue coming out. You know, when George Floyd was killed, protests were all over the country. 50 states, people protesting every week, every day. It's kind of slowed down a little bit. You know, it's not as many protests. You know, people start to move on and go back. Then another black man was killed, Jacob Blake, and then the protests start again. Protests are great, but we got to continue to do other things. So boom, what was talked about. Call your local government. Bug people, huh? Town city councilman, everybody. Like I said in our initial, you have to fight in your own way, and however you choose to fight, do that, and do that to your best ability. If your word's coming out and protesting, do that. Just calling the city council, do that. Even voting, doing what you can, because this fight, we have to come at it at all angles. Anybody else
Contact
want
your
to
city
speak?
manager.
Mm-hmm.
Manager. Yes, she's supposed to have been fired then.
Anybody else want to come up and speak? Please do. Share whatever words you got.
I'll say something.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have the mic.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. All right, I'll only say a couple things here. So, as he was speaking on, history is written by the victor, right? So they can make up whatever story they want based on who lived and who died. When black people are being killed, they can't speak for themselves. Something she brought up that really struck a chord with me is, you know, that child growing up without a father. I've been getting in a lot of Facebook arguments lately with some of my white friends, some of my family members, and one excuse I heard is it's the absence of a father figure.
No, it's not true.
Exactly. Where is that father figure? You murdered him. That don't make sense. Another thing, if your skin is white and you're out here, start doing something.
Yes.
Support the black lives, support black businesses.
Yes.
My wife has really inspired me as a person of color, right? I'm trying to follow her lead. And
Just for
you know, if you
clarification,
see
his
somebody,
wife is a person
like
of
I
color,
said, if
not
you have
calling
white
himself a
skin and you
person
see
of
the
color.
cops pull somebody over, follow them. Sit there with them. Pull out that phone. We've done it. We've done it a couple times. Nothing happened, thank God, but hey, if it would have. Exactly. Exactly. That's kind of all I have to say, guys.
The floor is open, so I want to keep going. Whenever somebody's done speaking, wants to come up and speak, come up and share some words, some thoughts, spun on anything. Safe environment here.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dee Sontag. I'm one of the co-directors of Lawyers Against Systemic Racism, and I just want to thank everybody for coming out here today. Thank you. Thank you.
They're one of the organizers of
I
this
think every
event.
time we come out here and I see these faces and I see these signs, I'm inspired. And I will say, as a public defender, most days I'm not that inspired. I'm struggling against a criminal punishment system that is designed to put my clients in prison. And this week is hard. 2 of our local victims would have had birthdays. Okay, Benny Branch would have been 25 on Sunday. Manny Ellis would have been 34 tomorrow. If you follow us on Facebook, you'll also notice that there is an event tomorrow, if I can share, Whitney.
Yes.
There's an event tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We're going to be doing a balloon release and also a mural painting in honor of Manny's life and the family's constant fight for justice. The idea that these families have to fight for justice because the murderers are police officers is absolutely disgusting. So I also encourage all of us, particularly people who are white, to use your voice and use your power. So I spoke to my council member, Tom's, yesterday on the phone. I'm going to constantly and continuously reach out to my local and my representatives to see what they're doing. Because I want to understand this system, and I want to be able to hold them accountable, because I want this system to be better for everyone. And he's going to be looking into making sure that every police involved death gets an independent evaluation and gets answers. Because I-940 is a great idea, but it must be implemented and it must be enforced, and the police must be held accountable. Otherwise, they're going to continue to get away with it. So 2021, we're getting body cams. I think that's great. We're going to continue to have conversations here in Tacoma about what that means and how officers cannot turn it off. That camera needs to be rolling whenever they come in contact with civilians. And if they turn it off, that case goes away. You don't get to use that case. You don't get to charge anybody. That goes away. So we need to make sure that it has teeth, that it has enforceability, and that we change the culture of the police department. Because I'm sorry, this election for the new sheriff is not going to change. Either candidate is not going to change the culture. We need to hold them accountable, and we need to make them change their culture. Because I am tired of seeing new victims. And I'm tired of hearing in other places of the country where these officers are being fired and these officers are being charged, and we're being denied that here in Tacoma. So I do urge you to please contact your council member and your mayor. I did talk to Mayor Woodards earlier today. She couldn't come tonight. I've been inviting her to all of our protests. She did tell me, I'll just let you know, as far as justice for Benny Branch, that there is still going to be a review board for a use of force. So although Mary Robnett made an extremely disappointing decision on being the prosecutor, the judge, and the jury by not filing charges against Officer Ryan Bradley, who is still currently on the Tacoma Police Department force.
And on duty.
On active duty, yes, he's on active duty right now. He's, somewhere around here. But I just want people to know that it's not over, okay? It's not over. There's going to be an independent, it's the use of force review board. It does have 2 community members on it. I asked the mayor to put me on it, so we'll see if I can be on it. I don't know if they want a public defender on the use of force board, but I got a lot to say. But if anybody else wants to come up here, we try to put a new theme to our protests, right? This one, I was so encouraged 4 weeks ago now by a classmate of Manny's who came and spoke about how they did track together, I think, at Wilson. And I was so encouraged because I've never lost a classmate to police brutality. And too many of us have. And so if you have a story to share or you have a perspective to share, I can speak on behalf of a lot of us that we are here to listen, and we are here to take active steps to ensure that our community is safe for our brothers and sisters of color. Thank you so much.
There we go. I'll make it really short. I was speaking with a member of Manny Ellis's family who is not here today, recently within the last week, and 5 times in a row they said, "Where is the outrage? Where is Tacoma's outrage? Where is the outrage? Where is Tacoma's outrage? Where is the outrage?" My heart broke for them. I feel outraged. I think everyone here feels outraged and everyone cares. I can say that city council every week is not enough. I'm there, there's not enough of us. It's also not enough, these things, and there's so many nuanced steps that have to happen, but please join Tuesdays. City council Zoom meetings are so accessible now. They also happen on phones. We need more people to speak. Tacoma City Council, because there are so they've decided to only let us speak once a month now. It was every week, and now it's once a month for 90 seconds. That's unacceptable. That is silencing of all of this, and that is unacceptable, and we should be writing them to allow us, first of all, for more time. Second of all, for all of these justice things. And then also I just want to say Pierce County Council happens the same day at 3 p.m. before Tacoma City Council, and you have 3 minutes every week to speak to them. And we need record of this community being outraged about what's happening. And all of those city council meetings are recorded. So please, if you have time, the study session is at noon on Tuesdays. The Pierce County Council is at 3, and Tacoma City Council is at 5. It's a lot. If you can't do all of it, pick one, but please join us because we need more voices. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So while we're waiting for another speaker, I'm just going to put a call out to the Seattle streamer community. Man, it's just something could be worked out to come down here so we can amplify their message.
On their homepage, on Tacoma Protest Daily, on their social media. If you can't find any of those things, contact
I know we're thin on boots on the ground.
or at Gmail, and we will get you the Zoom links. Whatever, if you need support, reach out. You will
So this will be happening not next week, but the week after on a Thursday. So if there's someone in the Seattle streamer community and you got 4 wheels, I don't know, just if you could pencil it in 2 weeks from now, Friday, 5 o'clock, come down here so we can put their story on blast. Because I'm down here in part because how come we don't hear more about Manuel Ellis?
Nobody else wants to come up. We'll just wrap it up. I'll say a few words, but first, when I say his name, I want to say Benny Branch. Say his name! Benny Branch! Louder, say his name! Benny Branch! Say his name! Benny Branch! Say his name! Benny Branch! Say his name, say Manny Ellis. Say his name! Manny Ellis! 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 When I say his name, say Leonard Thomas. Say his name! Leonard Thomas! 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 When I say Saeed Joaquin, when I say his name, say Saeed Joaquin. Say his name! Saeed Joaquin! 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 Thank you, thank you. Want to end on that note? That's why we're out here. So, that's it today. If nobody else has any other words, I could say a lot more, but I've said enough. Anybody else want to speak? No? Alright.
Every other.
Every other Thursday. Is Lakewood still going to be out next week? So, Lakewood will be doing theirs at the headquarters out in Lakewood next Thursday. So, if everybody wants to show up there, if you didn't know, Mike Wiley's still on the force in Lakewood, who killed Saeed Joaquin, gunned him down as well. He's still on the force, active. He was also responsible and involved in the Leonard Thomas killing too. So that's 2. And if you guys didn't know, Lakewood doesn't want body cams. Their chief thinks it's sufficient to just have them in the car. No. And so, and that's right here in Pierce County as well. So we're out at Lakewood.
Lakewood is made famous by the TV show Cops.
So come out and support in Lakewood. Because like I said, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. We have to keep fighting, everybody. Thank you.
Tacoma Protest Daily hosts a protest every Saturday night. They announce it at about noon, between like noon and 2 o'clock. And then we meet every Saturday. We don't really use you.
Yes, they do. I've seen them active driving around.
The new generation is also a host, so follow them too.
New generation, walk with us, 253, Tacoma Protest Daily.
D-Way 253, walk with us 253.
5 o'clock business. Oh, Sunday.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Yes.
I'm David.
Hi, David. I'm Dee.
Hey Dee, let me do this. Let me just explain to the viewers. I'm going to put them on mute here for a minute.
It's supposed to go all night.
Come on, rotate. Rotate the camera. There we go. Hey there, malcontents. We're muting mods. If people are like, no sound, no sound, let them know we're muted. I'm having a side conversation. All right, malcontents, I'm going to send you back up. And I think they've kind of wrapped up here. So I think what I'm going to probably do is wrap up the stream shortly. All right. I'm just reading some of the comments here. I think Lakewood has some distinction of being the community that has the most episode of cops there, and they also have a distinction of they threw the producers of Cops out of Lakewood because they're like, we're tired of having our town portrayed really bad on cops, and so we don't want you there. I remember I stopped for Lakewood for gasoline. This is years ago, and in the gas station there was a store there that had a t-shirt that said Lakewood as seen on Cops. Too many names. I mean, that's my takeaway. There's too many names, you know. I don't understand why, you know, and then there's just all of this pseudo justification. There's this document. It's called the Constitution, and the Constitution of the United States has some amendments in there. And one of the amendments there is the right for a trial, 6th Amendment. Right to have evidence presented and cross-examine your accusers, and that the state has to prove your case, 5th Amendment. The right to a legal search, no warrantless searches, 4th Amendment. and protection from cruel and unusual punishment. That's the 8th Amendment. We nowhere in the Constitution are you going to find language in it that says street executions are legal. And when an officer plays Jimbo on South Park, it's an old reference. I'm Gen Z, you'll have to forgive me. But in early episodes of South Park, Jimbo would always do this thing with animals going, they're coming right at us, right? It was like, if we yell, they're coming right at us, that gives me the justification to shoot. And no, the world doesn't work that way. And we need serious reform. And that's really just kind of it. So, malcontents. I'm going to flip the camera around. Actually, I'm not going to flip the camera around. I'm going to walk backwards because I want to close on something here. I want to close. I saw this and I want to close on it. And I want to close on a few words. If you're not familiar with Tacoma, Tacoma is kind of like one of the glass-blowing capitals of the United States. Cholula glass, very famous. And so there is this glass, thin blue line here that has a poem. And what's happened is through heat and cool cycles, because we have freeze-thaw cycles here, a few of the glass tiles here in this blue line have cracked. And in this blue line, there is essentially a poem. But as I was standing there, these 3 words caught my eye. Truth be told. And it's about time in the United States of America that the police, get that wire out of the way. It's about time in the United States that the police become committed to telling the truth, even when that truth is really inconvenient. Because then society will start to trust them more, because the truth always sets you free. That's what we tell our children, right? When our children are caught doing something bad, what do we tell them? It's going to be worse if you lie. The truth will set you free. Just tell the truth. Anybody who's ever tried to lie their way out of something and gets caught, or is holding a terrible lie, and then when they let it go, it may be awful in the moment, but then a weight is taken off your shoulders. Truth be told. Start telling the truth. Start telling the truth and set yourself free. That's it. Malcontent.